Welcome to Stories for Lip Reading. If you haven't used our website before, we suggest you look at our How to Use page before you begin. We hope you enjoy this short autobiographical piece, which is called Pigswill by Michael Edwards. Pigswill by Michael Edwards. Dad and Mum were always seeking ways to keep us boys from under their feet on Sundays and supplement our meagre pocket money. So they arranged for us to work for the local greengrocer, Mr. Robinson, during the few free hours we had. Mr. Robinson rented a small area of farmland, which he would tend on Sundays when the shop was closed. He also ran a pigswill business. On Sunday mornings he would arrive after chapel in his ancient, dilapidated pickup truck to collect us. If we were fortunate, my brother and I could squeeze onto the bench seat with Mr. Robinson and his stout son Billy. If unlucky, we huddled in the open back of the truck with the rattling dustbins. There followed a frantic round of visits to hotels, cafes and other catering establishments. The back of the pickup was soon crowded with overflowing dustbins of stinking kitchen waste, vegetables, chicken carcasses, meat bones and all manner of slops. Along with Billy, we had the unpleasant task of dragging the foul containers and lifting them into the filthy pickup, whilst Mr. Robinson bantered with the kitchen staff. Finally, laden down with stinking swill bins, we rattled our way to the piggery, a collection of run-down corrugated iron sheds. The conditions would have failed inspection even in the early 1950s. We laboured to unload the truck and tipped the foul contents of the swill bins into the large vats, where they were steamed for many hours. This swill would then eventually be fed to the pigs. We would relay buckets of already prepared swill to the squealing pigs before leaving for the next part of our working day. The whole adventure was marked by the acrid smell of cooked and uncooked swill on our hands and in our filthy clothes, as well as by the normal pig smells and sounds. We crowded back into the truck with the now empty swill bins and rattled and bumped our way back to the greengrocer's shop. There the bins were exchanged for piles of Hessian sacks and empty wooden vegetable boxes. Mrs. Robinson always prepared a huge pot of coarse stew for us to take for our lunch. This pot took pride of place on the bench seat. So my brother and I would yet again have to clamber into the back of the truck before we set off for the farm, and an afternoon of manual labour harvesting and tending the vegetable crop. Finally, the day's work completed and totally exhausted, we rode home, still in the back of the truck, squeezed in between the sacks and crates of crops we had harvested. The long journey home could be cold, windy and often very wet. As it was Sunday, after a meal at home, despite being very weary, we were encouraged to go along to the local church youth club. It's no wonder that I did not sparkle during these evenings, and with hindsight, I wonder if I was accompanied by the lingering smell of pig smell.